find things that make a difference.
Tonight, the latest.
Every story.
Is it a sign of things to come here in Oregon?
Every time.
But did their efforts really make the street more dangerous?
Count on it.
Big changes coming to TriMet travelers.
Coin U6. News that's to the point.
The Terry Schiavo autopsy controversy. Next ET.
Good evening, I'm Bob Schieffer. The Pope has taken a turn for the worse, and Terry Schiavo's long ordeal has ended. Those stories top our broadcast tonight. Then we'll have these reports.
I'm John Roberts. One of the most damaging intelligence failures in American history. That's what a presidential commission says about the case for war against Iraq.
I'm Byron Pitts in Baghdad. Tonight, serious questions about an Army vehicle soldiers depend on.
Medical technology meets science fiction. I'm Elizabeth Caledon, and I'll introduce you to some 21st century hospital employees.
I'm Mark Phillips. There's been another reported case of royal foot and mouth disease.
This is the CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Pope John Paul's health seems to be getting steadily worse. Doctors at the Vatican are now treating him for a high fever caused by an infection. CBS News correspondent Alan Pizzi is in Rome tonight and has the latest on his condition.
A brief statement from the Vatican spokesman said Pope John Paul II was struck by a high fever caused by an infection of the urinary tract. He is on a course of antibiotics and under the care of his personal medical team in the Vatican. Some reports said he'd been given the anointment of the sick, a blessing that used to be called last rites, but which is now given to sick people as a spiritual aid to healing. Church sources said John Paul II had probably been given the rites several times during the course of his many ailments. Late tonight, however, a light was still burning in the Vatican Medical Station, which is a few doors away from the papal apartments. A small group of faithful gathered near the Vatican as word of the Pope's condition was broadcast on Italian radio and TV.
If he's going, I want to be here to say goodbye.
Italian radio reported that the entire Vatican is on a state of alert. St. Peter's Square has got a lot of people gathering in it, about 500 or 600 as far as we can tell, and there are about 19 or 20 police cars gathered there as well, just to make sure everything is okay. The Pope's personal physician has been reported as saying that John Paul II will not be going to the hospital tonight. He also apparently said because it wouldn't make any difference at this stage. Bob?
So what do you read into that, Alan?
You could read that two ways, Bob. Either he's going to be treated okay and he's getting to be better, or there's no point and they're going to let him die at home. You could take it either way. The information coming out of the Vatican is very sparse, but as you said at the top, this looks very grave indeed.
All right. Thank you very much, Alan. The end came this morning for Terry Schiavo, and her husband's lawyer says she died peacefully 13 days after her feeding tube was removed. But as it has been throughout the ordeal, the arguments among her family members go on. Mark Strassman, who's been covering this story for us from the beginning, is in Pinellas Park, Florida, again tonight.
Terry Schiavo's long struggle is over. Death ends her sad saga, but the national conversation sparked during her final days has just begun. Did she have a right to live or a right to die?
She died at approximately 9 a.m. Her husband was present by her bed, cradling her.
And this family feud was bitter right to the end. 10 minutes before Schiavo died, her brother and sister were escorted out of her room by her husband. And Schiavo's parents, Mary Schindler,
just give us some room, please,
with her husband Bob, arrived minutes too late. They all missed her final moments.
Terry, we love you dearly, but we know that God loves you more than we do. We must accept your untimely death as God's will.
Over the years, dozens of judges had rejected the family's plea to keep her alive. Even last-minute emergency legislation passed by Congress and signed into law by President Bush was no help.
I urge all those who honor Terry Schiavo to continue to work to build a culture of life.
Even as protesters grew furious, Michael Schiavo, Terry's husband, never backed down. He insisted his wife only wanted to live like this, and not as the world knew her. He was equally adamant the decision to let her die was a private matter between a husband and wife, as he told ABC's Nightline.
She was a part of my life. She'll always be a part of my life.
His view prevailed in every courtroom. But in this drama, there really are no winners.
Please continue to pray that God gives grace to our family as we go through this very difficult time.
In their statement, Terry Schiavo's family also asked for God's forgiveness for any mistakes they might have made fighting for Terry. But there was no mention of the family's forgiveness of Michael Schiavo. Bob?
You know, that's what struck me as I watched those news conferences down there today, Mark, and that is this ended just as it began, in bitterness, didn't it?
It really did, and when you look back at it now in hindsight, today's ending almost seems inevitable. The factions could never agree on even the basics, and every time there was any sort of a major twist in the drama, it ended up in court again, and that always ended up as a victory for Michael Schiavo. So, again, today in hindsight, does kind of look inevitable.
Thank you very much, Mark. President Bush, as you just heard, called on the country to honor the memory of Terry Schiavo by creating what he called a culture of life. The White House would not offer criticism of the courts for refusing to keep her alive, but the House Republican leader Tom DeLay said the time will come for the men responsible for this to answer for their behavior. For sure, this is not over. Mika Brzezinski is here tonight with more on that. Mika.
Well, Bob, you're absolutely right. This is not over. This case has opened up issues that go far beyond one woman's tragic story. There are over 100 pieces of legislation pending in 32 states that address questions concerning end-of-life issues. 7 states took action in the past month alone. Louisiana and Alabama, for example, have introduced bills that assume, unless there was a written directive, like a living will, that the patient wanted food and water. And in a direct response to Michael Schiavo's relationship with another woman, one lawmaker in Michigan is proposing to deny individuals having extramarital affairs the right to make a decision about an incapacitated spouse. And then there was the unprecedented legislation enacted by Congress and signed by the president allowing Terry Schiavo's parents to argue their case in the federal courts. Here is CBS News legal analyst Andrew Cohen on the dangerous precedent that could set.
I absolutely think that the Congress and the president tried to intrude upon the judicial function, tried to break apart that separation of powers, tried to muscle in into what judges do.
So where do we go from here, Mika?
Well, Bob, the next battlefront definitely is the state legislatures, and the concern is that a lot of politicians on the far right might really focus on this as a right-to-life issue, and then another divisive case like this one could end up in the courts again.
All right. Thank you very much, Mika. A year ago, President Bush appointed a commission to find out how U.S. intelligence got it so wrong about Iraq and weapons of mass destruction. Today, the report came in, and it is scathing. It calls this one of the most damaging intelligence failures in recent U.S. history and says the harm to U.S. credibility will take years to undo. John Roberts at the White House has the details. John?
Well, Bob, as government reports go, this one was uncharacteristically harsh, and it has just about everyone down here in Washington saying something needs to be done, and quickly.
The report left little room for debate, concluding the intelligence agencies were dead wrong in almost all of their pre-war judgments about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction. Without comment about how he felt taking the nation to war on such flawed assumptions, President Bush agreed it's time to go to work.
America's intelligence community needs fundamental change to enable us to successfully confront the threats of the 21st century.
Singled out for particular criticism was the National Intelligence Estimate of October 2002, which made the case for war. Riddled with errors, the commission said, adding much of the Iraq intelligence was either worthless or misleading. And the president's daily briefings leading up to the war, disastrously one-sided, selling intelligence to keep the first customer interested. Looking ahead, the report's assessment is bleak, suggesting we know disturbingly little about Iran and North Korea's nuclear programs, and that current intelligence tools are almost useless in rooting out biological weapons. The president promised to quickly review the report's 74 recommendations to reform intelligence. Congress says it'll up the pressure on agencies to change.
There is still some self-denial. This is going to be a catalyst to help us improve the intelligence reform bill and our overall oversight responsibility. It's ongoing.
But reform won't come easily. The commission report paints a picture of lumbering bureaucracies resistant to change, and they worry that Congress didn't give the person who'll have to pull all of these agencies together, the new National Intelligence Director, the clout to end the relentless turf wars. Bob?
Thank you, John. The commission was headed by former Virginia Senator Chuck Robb and retired federal judge Lawrence Silberman, and when I talked to them this afternoon, they said the whole intelligence community still needs a complete overhaul. I also note that you say in the report that the FBI still doesn't seem to be a part of this community. They still don't seem to be communicating.
That's absolutely correct. The FBI is a great institution. It's a proud institution. It's also a stubborn institution when it comes to integrating into the intelligence community.
We've had 9/11, we've had all these commissions, we've created the Department of Homeland Security, and the FBI is still not a part of this. How can that be?
Well, the iron laws of bureaucracy are not suspended, even in wartime. But in wartime, it becomes less and less tolerable.
I want to go back to the original finding where you said that we were dead wrong about whether Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. How did we get ourselves into that position, Judge?
We got ourselves into that position because we had very, very thin intelligence. And instead of telling the policymakers that, gee, we really don't know, the intelligence community ended up telling the policymakers that we did know, and they were wrong.
What would cause them to say that they come to a conclusion without the evidence?
It's very hard for the intelligence professionals to say we just don't know.
Thanks to both of you.
Thank you, Bob.
The two also said the head of the CIA is now spending up to 6 hours a day preparing his daily report for the president, which they said does not leave him enough time to run the agency. President Clinton's national security advisor, Sandy Berger, will plead guilty to a misdemeanor charge of taking classified information from the National Archives without authorization. Berger said he took some of his own notes and documents from the archives by mistake while preparing to testify to the 9/11 Commission. And coming up next, that cost $4 million each and are supposed to get troops into battle safe and sound. That's the idea. The reality is tonight's Inside Story. But first, CBS News honors fallen heroes. Byron Norwood, his family used to wait for the sound of his instant messages from Iraq. He was very talented. Played trumpet, sang, acted, even impersonated Jim Carrey. He learned Arabic and became friends with Iraqi soldiers. Gunned down while defending his comrades, he once said, "I know my mission. I'm willing to pay the price."
Cholesterol. It comes buttered, battered, basted, and roasted. But it also comes from Mom, Dad, Grandma Rose, and Grandpa Joe. Your cholesterol doesn't just come from food. It also has a lot to do with family history. Ask your doctor about Vytorin. A healthy diet is important, but when it's not enough, adding Vytorin can help. Vytorin treats the two sources of cholesterol, food and what your body makes naturally based on family history. Vytorin lowers bad cholesterol 45 to 60%. Vytorin is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Unexplained muscle pain or weakness could be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Vytorin may interact with other medicines or certain foods, increasing your risk of getting this serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Continue to follow a healthy diet and ask your doctor about adding Vytorin. For the two sources of cholesterol, remember the name Vytorin. That's Vytorin.
Who can grow a spectacular garden? Now, everyone can. With Miracle Grow Shake and Feed plant food. A few shakes is all it takes to feed plants continuously for up to 3 full months. The perfect food, the right amount. It's the mistake-proof way to grow plants twice as big. Guaranteed. You don't have to be a great gardener to have a great garden. All you need is Shake and Feed.
Don't forget to turn the clocks ahead this weekend. And also remember to turn back time by using Olay Regenerist Continuous Night Recovery for an Olay mini lift in the morning. Olay, love the skin you're in.
In the mood for something different? How about Levitra? Ask your doctor if Levitra's right for you.
It's the best way to experience that difference.
Ask about a free sample. Ask about Levitra. Levitra, when it counts.
Right now, if you're taking medication for arthritis pain, the facts can be hard to get a grip on. We can't tell you if your prescription puts you at risk. Only your doctor can. But what we can tell you is that no other pain reliever is safer than Tylenol when used as directed, and that Tylenol arthritis pain works as well as prescription ibuprofen. Hopefully that will give you something to hold on to.
Albania says a U.S. military transport plane crashed there today, killing all 9 on board. Albanian officials say the C-130 took off from Tirana, which is the capital, on a training mission and crashed into a mountain 50 miles southeast. It exploded on impact. The Defense Department confirmed tonight that U.S. forces in Iraq are holding a top aide to the country's most wanted terrorist, Abu al-Zakari. The aide is said to have a dual U.S. and Jordanian citizenship, the only American detained so far in Iraq. Also today, U.S. officials in Baghdad reported the deaths of 3 more American soldiers, 2 in fighting in and north of the capital, the 3rd from wounds suffered earlier. And a previously classified report was released today and cited serious problems with the Army's newest combat vehicle, the Stryker. Byron Pitts has our inside story.
This is the way the Army's high-tech, lightweight armored vehicle is supposed to work. Get troops to the scene of battle quickly and efficiently with lots of protection. But that is not always the case, as a classified Army report completed last December. The extra armor added to protect troops from rocket-propelled grenades only works half the time. The armor added extra weight, making the vehicle unstable. The high-tech computer software essential for communication melts in the heat. And its primary offensive weapon system, a grenade launcher, can't hit the target while the Stryker's moving.
This is a $4 million a copy vehicle, and it's not doing exactly what it's supposed to.
Critics say the Stryker was rushed into battle before it was thoroughly tested.
You give the people that are inside these things the false impression that they're protected, when in fact we don't really know how well they're protected yet.
The Army's point man acknowledges the problems, but supports the vehicle.
When we operate in a condition, for example, like Iraq, where we're seeing a different kind of combat than we might have envisioned, we ought to take and modify the vehicle so that it's more survivable, so that the soldier has a better chance of returning. That's our obligation.
The Pentagon wants a faster-moving Army, but does the Stryker sacrifice safety for speed? The old vehicles may have been slower, but that extra weight provides protection on the battlefield. Byron Pitts, CBS News, Baghdad.
President Bush got what he wanted from the World Bank today. The board accepted Paul Wolfowitz as its new chief starting June 1st. Wolfowitz is currently number 2 at the Pentagon. Opponents said he had a lack of experience in world finance, and his role in planning the Iraq War also drew criticism. Coming up next, making rounds by robot. It sounds incredible, but these life-size, high-tech machines allow doctors to see, hear, and even talk to patients.
Hi, Steve. Hello. Dr.
For you, my sweet. I see you are overcome with love. Or could it be congestion and other seasonal nasal allergy symptoms? Your congestion will not keep us apart.
Only Nasonex is clinically proven to both treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, including congestion. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
Love means never having to say you are congested.
To treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, Nasonex is the one. Talk to your doctor.
To keep things fresh in the freezer, use New Glad Press and Seal Freezer Wrap. It seals air out, so freshness stays in, because it's the only wrap that seals when you press it, to get more air out than freezer bags. New Glad Press and Seal Freezer Wrap. For freshness in the freezer, get Glad.
Hey. Whew. Yeah. You look relaxed for somebody in your condition.
It's because I have Aflac.
What do you mean?
Oh, when I'm hurt and miss work, Aflac gives me cash to help pay bills my health insurance doesn't.
You mean like car payments?
Mm-hmm.
Electric bills? Mm-hmm. Or the rent?
Yep. Even food.
Chinese is here. great. I love duck.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Oh, I miss it here, don't you?
Oh, it looks so good. Try the scampi.
Magnifique. Oh, we know. We used to be regulars.
Used to?
Frequent heartburn, no matter what.
He's no fun anymore.
Well, Prilosec OTC. Prilosec OTC? Look, it's the only OTC that directly shuts down lots of those acid-producing pumps in your stomach. Oh, yeah? Yeah. That's why it's the only OTC that can work for 24 hours.
With one pill a day.
Hey, we could have fun again.
Bingo.
One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
Introducing the new Cadillac STS. Let's dance. Break through.
Attractive lease or purchase offers available. Visit your local Cadillac dealer.
A medical center in Michigan has taken a big step into the future. Robots are now helping care for the patients, and whatever these robo-docs may lack in bedside manner, the patients can count on one thing: the doctor is always in. CBS News medical correspondent Elizabeth Caledon has our report.
If you roam the corridors of the Detroit Medical Center these days, you might see something a little unusual. Robots are making rounds.
You've been coughing for a few days now? Yes. Okay.
The medical center has deployed 10 of these metal medics, 5'7", 220-pound bundles of technological innovation aimed at improving medicine.
Hi, Steve.
They don't operate alone, of course. Through the internet, a doctor is always at the helm.
How do you feel about talking to a robot instead of a doctor?
I mean, I know. Talking to a doctor, Elizabeth.
The beauty of it is really quite simple. It allows doctors to be several places at once. They can be in their office or even at home, overlooking charts and x-rays, and
be at the patient's bedside at the same time.
If you crash into a wall...
Any doctor with access to the computer technology can log on to the robots and go on rounds. Dr. Richard Santucci happens to be at home when he's needed in the emergency room.
Beautiful.
so they would page you at home.
Sure.
You'd stop cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And you come over and check in on a patient.
Right, exactly right.
Dr. Santucci maneuvers the robot through the hospital halls a half an hour away. He can even consult with other doctors before talking to patients.
So both your lung fields are quite clear.
Critics might say, oh great, another tool to make doctors even less hands-on. But patients actually seem to appreciate it.
You think this is the wave of the future?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Pretty
It's
good.
the way we're going?
It may be quicker and faster to get around to people.
Improving efficiency is the main goal, but pediatric surgeon Dr. Michael Klein says the technology is also a way to have a specialist in Boston see a patient in Baton Rouge.
And this is a way that we can actually bring expert care to people's bedsides. I'll try to watch your toes.
All agree there's a time and a place to use the robots. They are not meant to replace doctors, only help them. In fact, they have one major shortcoming.
Pardon me, could I ask you to plug me in?
Okay.
They need power. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, Detroit.
Excellent.
And still to come, it's no secret that members of the British royal family don't like reporters, but they usually keep it to themselves. Not this time.
She got a shock when she tried to sue the phone company over a disputed bill. Do you read the fine print? We do. A consumer alert tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer.
I am a strong person. I'm a happy person. I am a diabetic, and I test 6 times a day because this is my meter.
The AccuCheck Compact system takes the pain out of struggling with strips. You can also test on your palm. Switch to the AccuCheck Compact system.
To help prevent a heart attack, 81 milligrams is the dose of aspirin doctors recommend most. So St. Joseph only makes that dose.
Be sure to talk to your doctor. St. Joseph, America's original, just for the heart.
Welcome to the Lincoln Mercury Roadshow Sales Event. Starring the all-new Mercury Montego. A totally fresh approach to the family sedan. And also featuring the all-new Mercury Mariner. A more stylish take on the compact SUV. and special roadshow values on every new Mercury. Now through March 31st during the Lincoln Mercury Roadshow sales event. And see the all-new Mariner and Montego.
This allergy season, ask your doctor about something different. Singulair. While many seasonal allergy medicines block histamine, Singulair works differently by blocking leukotrienes, an underlying cause of seasonal allergy symptoms. And one prescription Singulair helps relieve a broad range of seasonal allergy symptoms for a full 24 hours. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age, and may include headache, ear infection, sore throat, and upper respiratory infection. Singulair, a different way to treat seasonal allergies.
A funny thing happens when your body doesn't sleep at night. Your mind zones out during the day. It's like going through life on autopilot, out of sync with the world around you. To help you sleep, there's Ambien, the #1 prescribed sleep aid in America. Ambien helps you fall asleep fast and stay asleep longer, so you wake up refreshed, not groggy. Until you know how Ambien will affect you, you shouldn't drive or operate machinery. Side effects may include drowsiness, dizziness, and diarrhea. You shouldn't take it with alcohol. All people taking sleep medicines have some risk of becoming dependent on the medicine. Prescription sleep aids are most often taken for 7 to 10 days as needed, or longer as advised by your doctor. Memory problems can usually be avoided by taking Ambien only when you can devote 7 to 8 hours to sleep. Talk to your doctor about Ambien. Ambien works like a dream.
Who can grow a spectacular garden? Now, everyone can. With Miracle Grow Shake and Feed plant food. A few shakes is all it takes to feed plants continuously for up to 3 full months. The perfect food, the right amount. It's the mistake-proof way to grow plants twice as big. Guaranteed. You don't have to be a great gardener to have a great garden. All you need is Shake and Feed.
Tomorrow. 142 miles an hour with a suspended license.
We did some checking. Wait until we tell you just how many Oregonians are driving with suspended licenses. Next.
There was a new episode today in England's longest-running reality show, also known as The Royal Family. This time we find the heir to the throne, Prince Charles, in a foot-in-mouth encounter with the British press. Mark Phillips picks up the story.
With all the time he's spent in front of cameras and microphones, Prince Charles ought to have known better.
What have we done wrong?
The wrongdoing was yet to come. The princes, Charles, William, and Harry, had long taken a grin-and-bear-it attitude to their annual ski holiday photo opportunity. This time, instead of bearing it, Charles muttered.
8 days now to the wedding.
You've heard of it, have you?
Seeming remarkably petulant for a man finally about to marry the woman he's apparently wanted to marry for decades, Charles was asked a harmless question about how it felt.
It's a very nice thought, isn't it? I'm very glad you've heard of it anyway.
And then, under his breath,
I can't bear that. It's so horrendous.
The bloody person in question was a member of the assembled impertinent press.
I think it's been a sort of love-hate relationship. The press love him and he hates them.
The gaffe was another stumble on the road to his marriage to Camilla Parker Bowles, which has already tripped up over where it would be held and who would be there. For Charles, true love has never run smooth, especially when he insists on digging some of the holes in the road himself. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
That's the news. Stay with CBS for any late developments tonight on the condition of the Pope. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on cbsnews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart. The Walmart price, saving you money on the things you need every day. Want to sue the phone company? Not so fast. A consumer alert tomorrow. Experience CBS News.
Next, a major setback for Pope John Paul II. See why AIDS gave him the last rites.
How do you get an SUV off the floor of the Willamette River? I'm Drew Mickelson. We'll have that answer and some new information on the Morrison Bridge accident coming up on KOIN News 6.
And protesters pound the pavement downtown. See why they're upset over how their money could be spent down the road.
Now, for Portland, Southwest Washington, and all of Oregon, this is KOIN News 6 at 6 p.m. News that's to the point.
Hello and welcome everyone to KOIN News 6 at 6 o'clock. I'm Jeff Gianola.
And I'm Kelly Day. Thanks for joining us tonight. Reports from Rome at